male reproductive structures. We are specifically in this particular instance talking about humans. And so when we talk about the male reproductive structures, we can talk about the gonads. And the gonads are the testes. Interestingly, the gonads are located outside of the body cavity. And this has to do with endothermy, the evolution of endothermy. So outside of body cavity. And this is where they're located, is the scrotum. And the scrotum helps in temperature regulation. So in endothermic organisms, the inside of the body seems to be too warm by like maybe 2 degrees Celsius for the production of healthy motile sperm. So the testes is now located outside of the body. Some species, the testes are pulled up when they're not mating, when they're not breeding, and they only descend and come out to the outside of into the scrotal sacs when they are reproductively active. So it's not really, the scrotum, I would not say is protective. I mean, it does protect, but it would be better to have the testes up in the body cavity so it functions in temperature regulation. When we look at the testes, we also see that inside the testes, we have the seminiferous tubules. And it is in these tubules that spermatogenesis takes place. So spermatogenesis. So this is the formation of sperm occurs in the seminiferous tubules. Now surrounding the testes and the seminiferous tubules is another set of tubules, but you can see when you dissect them out, you can see the difference. And it is called the epididymis. Oops, US. And the epididymis stores the sperm prior to ejaculation. The ejaculate or the semen doesn't just contain sperm, but it contains other things that are added to it by accessory glands. So we'll talk about those accessory glands, but the epididymis stores the sperm. And then from the epididymis, when the sperm are ejaculated during male orgasm, it goes into the vas deferens. And the vas deferens in many books is now called the ductus deferens. So this is the tubules that then transport the sperm back up into the body cavity. So they transport sperm into the body cavity. So let's look at a diagram of the male reproductive system. So this is my ductus deferens. It does not run by itself up into the body cavity. They have eliminated the structure that surrounds the ductus deferens, which is called the spermatic cord. And so there's actually muscles that go down. There's nerves that come down. There's lymphatic tissue. There's circulation, right? So this is the ductus deferens right here. So that's my ductus deferens. This is my testis. This is my scrotum. This is my epididymis. And it's IS, not US. Epididymis. There we go, I didn't know. There's an awful lot of I's in there, right? Epididymis. So that's my epididymis. You can see that it surrounds it, right? So it comes up into the body cavity, and then we have these accessory organs right here, which are called the seminal vesicles, and there's 2 of them. So we have 2 seminal vesicles. And this is significant because the other accessory organ is the prostate, and it only has one. There's only one prostate, so it's not a paired organ. So both of these are accessory glands that contribute substances to the semen, to the ejaculate. So you'll notice that it comes by here, the sperm would be carried, and then it comes by here and it passes by, right, the seminal vesicles, and it passes through the prostate gland, and then it finally comes out via the urethra. So we're gonna write that one down. This is the urethra, and this transports both sperm and urine. So the urethra is what transports both sperm and urine. So when we talk about these other structures, okay, we have the vas deferens. Let's talk about the seminal vesicles. They contribute something that allows the sperm to be able to move. And so they contribute fructose. And this actually feeds the sperm and allows the sperm to produce energy, or ATP, and allows them to have the ability to swim. When we look at the secretions of the seminal vesicle, it is said to be thick, yellowish, and alkaline. So thick, yellow, alkaline. So there's other things in there, right? And it actually produces what is called a coagulating enzyme. So it produces actually a coagulant. And this actually helps when the males ejaculate into the female's reproductive tract. It makes it stick together, so it doesn't just immediately come back out. So we have a coagulating enzyme. Okay, so when we look at the alkaline aspect here, that would mean that it has a high pH. Generally, when we talk about the female reproductive system, we say that it is acidic. And the acidity of the reproductive system protects against bacterial infections, against fungal infections, but also tends to kill sperm. So that alkaline, the alkaline nature of the seminal vesicle secretions is important for overcoming the acidity of the female's vagina. So if we look at the prostate gland, it has stuff that its secretions are said to be thin, milky, and they're fluid, right? So thin, milky, and fluid. There is another important nutrient in the prostate gland, and this is called citrate. So this is an important nutrient. Now, you have heard of the prostate gland probably, because for some reason in our culture, men over the age of 70 are almost guaranteed to have prostate gland problems. And so if we look at where this prostate gland is located, you will note that it is in this duct that is draining the bladder, right? And also there's a duct coming down here with the semen, right? So it is going to make it difficult if it swells up to ejaculate, but it's also going to make it difficult to urinate. And so oftentimes what happens in older males is that they won't be able to urinate very easily. And so they'll be constantly going to the bathroom trying to urinate because of this blockage. And so they can go in there and open up that blockage. Prostate cancer is so interesting because these days they actually think the treatment for prostate cancer might be worse than actually just letting somebody live with a slow developing prostate cancer. So men in their like 70s and 80s know they have prostate cancer and aren't getting treated for it. They're just getting it monitored because it's pretty much guaranteed that they are probably going to die from something other than their prostate cancer. So maybe a heart attack or whatever, but it's not going to be the prostate cancer that kills them. And so they generally, these days, it's kind of a new thing. They sometimes won't even treat that cancer. When we look at this, this is also a gland. This is an interesting gland. This is the bulbo, there's an L there, urethral gland. And this is what produces the pre-seminal fluid. That pre-seminal fluid happens before ejaculation, and it functions to clean out the urethra, to remove any acidic urine, which could also be detrimental to sperm. And it also helps to lubricate. And so that pre-seminal fluid generally doesn't have sperm in it, unless there is sperm already in the urethra. So if ejaculation had happened recently, then there might be sperm in it, but you know, for contraceptives, they like to just say, be very careful of pre-seminal fluid as well as semen, right? Just to be on the safe side.